Hello and welcome to the Meeting Gold podcast. My name is Samuel Miele, and today we are joined by a CFL player. I noticed you were also a part of the Buffalo Bills practice squad.
I was in the training camp with the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, back in
Incredible.
2000.
Favorite team. My dad would love that.
Yeah.
And an entrepreneur by heart. So, Dan, can you give us a little introduction about yourself, your background, where you grew up, and then we'll kind of get into like how you got in football and your life afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a local. I'm a Thorold boy, born and raised in Thorold.
Right.
I got two brothers, Tino and Joe. My mom and dad. Dan and Sandy. My dad just passed away back in December, so I don't want to start it off in a gloomy way.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
Dad passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's okay, man. 20 years with Parkinson's. He was my Superman mentor to me. So So other than that, I played professional football from 1999 through 2009. Pretty solid up until 2004.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, that's a story all in itself.
Yeah.
A lot of sickness in the family. My wife with cancer, and my father-in-law cancer. My mother-in-law with preventative surgery. My mom had a major seizure. All this happening
while you're...
Yeah, like right after we won the Grey Cup in 2004. So, decisions had to be made. Do you stay home? Do you kind of embark in another direction? What do you do? So that kind of led me into 2004, became a personal trainer.
Right.
Just in a gym, Premier Fitness that used to be in St. Catharines. Lucked out one day, somebody came up to me and he says, "Man, are you Dan Giancola, the kicker?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Man, you're here all the time, you're training, you're in here 2-3 times a day." And I says, "Yeah." He says, "Have you ever thought maybe something you might want to do to be like a personal trainer?"
Right.
And, it's funny, telling you this story now, it just triggered me. Like, he's actually probably the guy who got me started in the industry that I'm in now. And
but you were always, I think, am I right to say a lot of football guys are big into just working out?
Yes. At a certain age, like 17 years old, me and one of my buddies just decided we wanted to start working out again. Or just start working out, sorry.
Yeah.
I was 17 years old, and it used to be a place called Phoenix Fitness in Thorold.
Right.
And I said, "Yeah, man, let's go give it a shot." And,
So you didn't work out before that?
No, man. I got a very fast story about it. I remember our first exercise was a bench press.
Of course, every
right?
guy.
All the dudes, the chest, the arms kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we walked over to the bench, and I saw a guy behind me, and he put a 45-pound plate, another 45-pound plate. The bar itself is 45 pounds, so simple math. It's about 135 pounds.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gets the bar, and he just starts repping it out. I thought, wow, look at him go.
Yeah.
So I looked at my buddy, and said, "Yeah, man, let's go." So I go right behind the guy, and I get on the other bench, and we put a 45 on, another 45 on, and my buddy comes up behind me. He goes, "Oh, I'll make sure you don't drop it." I go, "Dude, I'm good.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate, 17 years old. Really skinny, scrawny Italian. My chest was caved in. You think you're strong.
Yeah.
I get underneath the bench, and I remember holding the bar, going, "Damn, this is heavy."
Right.
And this thing just started coming down. I think, all right, well, bring it down to my chest like he did. I got it to here, and I just looked at my buddy. "Oh, help me up. My buddy couldn't get it up, so the guy behind me had to get off the bench, and he came over and he helped me up.
You're kidding me.
And that's really how it started, And he said to me, "Start with the bar and then work your way up." And I said, "Okay." So that's how we did it. So at the age of 17, started with the bar, and you go from there, man.
And you just keep progressing.
It's like anything in life, man. It's like you when you do your podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast. You get better as you go.
Right.
You learn different techniques.
Yeah.
You learn different ways of doing things, and and that's it's like anything. So it was like that for training.
Now, you working out at 17. You were athletic before that? Naturally, just athletic, right?
Yeah, no, I was born with a ball in my foot. I can honestly say to you, I think 3 or 4 years old, my dad would always tell the story that we had a red ball, and my dad, one day the ball came running across the room, and I guess I was a late walker, and I just got up, and I just started running after this ball.
Right.
Started kicking around the room. So it started at a very young age.
Yep.
Soccer was my first love.
Of course, like most kickers, right?
Yes and no. There's guys who just traditionally just like kicking
a
football
more,
and that's it. And then you got your soccer style kickers, And at the age of 14, I I was with the national soccer team. Bill Miller was a coach. I'm not sure if he still is at Brock University.
Wow.
And he was my coach with the regional team. So I was there for 3 years. And
so you were heavily into soccer.
Heavy in soccer. Man.
So football? What brought you?
Football was grade 9. I was going to Dennis Morris, and a real long story short, I just remember one of my best buds came up to me and he said, "Hey Dan," he said, "listen," he said, "we're looking for a kicker for the junior team." And I'm like, "Hey, bro, I'm playing with the national team soccer. You're Italian, you got Italian.
Yeah.
They're strict, in a lot of levels.
There's a lot of things that you can't just walk up and go.
You can't just come up and just say, hey, I want to go play football.
Yeah.
And specifically because at the time I was with the national team for soccer.
So it was very clear you could have had a future in soccer.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Absolutely, 100%. But back in the day, there really was not like now we have MLS and all this other stuff. I mean, it was either you played arena soccer like the Buffalo Blizzards and the teams that they had. Other than that, there really wasn't all these. Or you went to Europe.
Right.
And let's face it, a lot of guys, around here at the time especially, we didn't really have the coaching like they did in Europe. So I'm not saying there's no chance of doing it because Lord knows
it's a lot harder.
Living proof, of living your dream, but it's a lot harder. So I went out for the junior team, went out behind my dad's back. I didn't tell my dad. I went out for the team.
Oh boy, yeah.
And this is going to be in my book that I'm writing, and it's how it started for me.
Wow.
We went out in the field, and we got out there before everybody got out there, with the exception of the senior football coach.
Which is smart.
Because I don't know how to kick. I have no clue. So he came up to me and he said, "Hey Dan, here you go." He gives me an orange tee and a black tee. Now, I've never kicked a football before. I don't know what the hell this is. What is it for? What am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
So we go out in the field. I'm carrying these 2 tees. We got a rubber football. And my buddy says, you want to kick a couple? I said, yeah, man, that's why we came out here. We got to do this quick, because I don't know how to do it. I said, so what do we do? And he looks at me and goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I got to kick the ball. I kick it into the net? No, I'm not lying to you. I'm dead serious when I say this to you. I didn't watch football. So I had no idea what the hell to do. So he says, well, no, the posts that are riding up the goalpost, soccer.
That's what you kick it.
You kick the ball.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
No. So I'm like, okay, dude. I said, all right, well, put the ball down. So we put the ball down. So we're trying to put it down in this black tee. The black tee is just a flat tee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no idea what this is for. So he says, all right, well, he says, well, put it on the orange one. So again, you appreciate, never done it before.
Yeah.
So I just put the ball down on this orange tee. I had the tee backwards.
Right.
So I stepped back and I did probably about 6-7 steps. I did like a goal kick.
Like a goal kick, foul kick.
Exactly. Stepping back. And man, I wound up and I smoked this thing.
Really?
We were 40 yards out. I smoked it. Now, didn't go between the posts, but this thing went out into the tennis courts, which was probably about 70 yards away. Smoked it. So I kicked this ball, and all of a sudden I hear, hey, Kumba! And in Italian, hey, buddy, hey, friend. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the heck was that? And my buddy Bill looks at me and he goes, it's the guy on the side of the hill. And then I go, me? And he goes, yeah. So I start walking over. He goes, no. Kick another one. Move back. So I walked up to my buddy and I said, he goes, you want you to move back? I said, yeah. He said, well, who is he? Because I got no clue who the hell he is. So, all right, well, I'll move back anyway. So I moved back. Same thing again. Tees in the same position, put it down, take 6-7 steps back, boom. Goes nowhere near the uprights, but again, goes into the tennis courts. So I hear something along the lines of, Minkia, come here. So I start walking over. I look at my buddy. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So I walk over and he says, hey, my name is Red Ferracuti. He says, I'm the senior coach for the football team. And I says, oh, hey, hi, Mr. Ferracuti. How are you? He says, how long you been kicking? I said, those are my first 2 kicks. And he just looks at me and he goes, pardon? I go, those are my first 2 kicks. He says, I want you to do me a favor. Grab your tees and come on over to the other side. So I said, okay. So we walk over to the other side. My buddy's coming. He goes, dude, okay, number one, who is that? And I said, he's a senior coach, he said. He says, oh, my God. So he looks at my buddy, and I felt so bad. And he says to my buddy, he says, no, you stay. Just give him the tees.
Yeah.
So he gives me the tees. We go on the other side of the field. And again, making a real long story short, it's kind of cool we're telling this story if I can, just for half a second.
Yeah.
One of my good friends, just died. And again, not to make it somber. He was suffering from diabetes. So he's actually in this story. He actually was the kicker for the senior team. And I went over to the other side and he said, okay, he says, here's what we're going to do. He says, we're going to put the ball down in the black tee. And I said, oh, what's that for? He goes, you really have never kicked the ball before? I said, no. He says, field goals. So your holder, I go, my holder? He goes, yeah, the guy's going to hold the ball for you on the tee. Okay. Now, if you've been to DM, there's the goalposts that face the street.
Right.
So we got a center, and somebody snapped the ball back, and then we had my holder. And I was, again, 6 yards back. So he looks at me, and he goes, where are you going? I said, what do you mean, where am I going? I says, I'm going to kick the ball. I'm going to put it between the posts. Our other coach played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. His name was Ed Suchek. He's the one who eventually became one of the coaches.
Right.
He says, Danny, I'm going to teach you something. You got to just go like 3 yards back because guys are going to come at you. So you got to kick this ball. Anyway, long story short, he snaps the ball back. I kick this ball, and it goes out into the street and hits a bus.
You're joking.
Oh, we lost the ball. It hit a bus. A car ran over it.
Oh, my God.
The football blew up.
Yeah.
He just looks over to the coach, and he goes, you're my extra point guy. So I look over to my buddy who just walked over, and my heart broke. I was like, oh, no, like he just lost his job, like kicking extra points. And then it doesn't register to me yet. I'm not even allowed to be on the field playing football. And now I'm going to be the kicker for the senior team in grade 9. So
and I know because my dad played for Veracruz.
And there you go. This is awesome.
He's a linebacker, and I know that DM was an insanely good football
19
school.
out of 21 years they had their history at that time when I was playing. 19 out of 21 years was the dynasty. They were a machine. They were a powerhouse.
It was like the Patriots times 10.
Absolutely incredible. You know.
So I know what that's like. That's like a miracle story.
It really, truly is, man.
That's incredible.
But that's how it started. Then from there, I kicked a field goal. It was about 30 yards out. Put it in the street again. He looks at me. He says, "You're my field goal guy." Again, looking at my buddy. I did a kickoff. I put it ball all the way down to the 5-yard line. He goes, "You're my kickoff guy." And then I had to do a punt. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so glad I sucked.
Right.
I punted this ball. It went straight up. The wind caught it. I think it was like a 5-yard punt. It's got high. It was like a 5-yard punt. And he looked over to my buddy and he says, "Okay, you can keep the punts." And I was like, thank you, God. Like, honestly, I was like, thank you, God. You know, because I felt so bad because
it's a staple to play for DM.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So grade 9 through 13, I played with the senior team. We won 5 championships. I don't know where you want to go. I don't want to dictate the paces.
So let's get into that. So that was a very successful season with DM.
Yeah.
And like most. Now, coming from that,
right?
Scholarship?
Nothing. You want to know the story?
So how do you get there?
Okay.
Long story short.
I didn't have the marks. I didn't have the marks.
Like most.
Yeah, I didn't have the marks. I was an athlete, so I put sports first. And that's one of the things I always said to my daughter, and I always say to everybody else. I always tell them and say, you know, really focus on the schooling. You know, a lot of times we hate it. It sucks. And we hate, that aspect of it. But the way they teach us is, get the school, get the marks, and then it'll take you where you had to go. And unfortunately for me, I didn't have the marks. I went to 2 high school camps. I went number 1 in both those camps. I had scholarships from Miami, Penn State, Notre Dame, all Division I, Alabama, University of Florida State,
like
Michigan.
In the
States. I had every...
You played in Canada, you got... Wow.
In Canada, but when you went to these high school camps, they all came. All scouts came.
Looking for the outlier.
Every single university from Canada sent me a letter. And then we looked at my marks. And I was terrified to write my SATs. Terrified. Because...
It meant everything.
It meant everything. But at the same time, too, I was very much an intimidated person. The reason why I really didn't do very well in school is because grade 4... Now, you and I just spoke how great you are with speaking. And obviously, you do such an amazing job here.
Thank you.
In grade 4, I wasn't prepared for one of my things. And I tried to fake it. I was one of the first people to walk up. And I remember the teacher and how horrible she made me feel. And I tried to fake this thing because I knew I wasn't prepared and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Everybody in the class was laughing at me. And she just let it go on and on and on.
So I hate you.
Hard.
Yeah.
Hard. I mean, when you talk about, I guess almost in a sense, bullying that happened after that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The next day, she made me try it again. And this time I wrote it down on my cue cards, but I obviously didn't study it. I didn't memorize it.
Right.
So, unfortunately, once again, I'm trying to read it. Well, she's making me not read it on the cards. And I'm like, well, I don't have it memorized. So I kept going like this and getting nervous and almost in tears. And unfortunately, that episode scarred me.
Yeah.
So through all of high school, into college, I would just take 0 for presentation because I was terrified. So if it was 30% of my mark,
coming from an Italian kid,
you got it.
Wow.
You got it. And that's how bad that scarred me.
And so how did you what ended up happening with the whole getting the letters? And
so from there, unfortunately, the dream was over. Like if there was a dream there, the dream was over because there's nowhere to go. If you don't go to university to play football, you don't play, period.
Yeah.
So I legitimately had to take the 2 years and just search. What do you want to do? Now, again, being Italian, my mom and dad, real simple.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to school's not your thing, go get a job. But you're not going to live underneath this roof and you're not going to do nothing.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to work. So I was like, I'll go to school. So right out there, I went to Niagara College.
Oh, wow.
First year, I took business administration. I did well with it.
Yeah.
And then from that point, you get to try to branch out.
And was football a thing for you during this time?
The great question, because those 2 years that I had taken off, I had stole my rubber football, and I stole both of my tees at the end of my high school career. And for some reason, there was that love to kick the football, a love like no other. And I would go to the soccer park right down the road from me, our house.
Yeah, yeah.
And instead of grabbing the soccer ball, like I always did for hours, I grabbed the football. So you play soccer?
I did for 7 years.
Okay, so you know from center field to the goalpost how far.
Yeah, it's a good length.
55 yards, depending on some fields, give or take, right?
Give or take.
I would take that rubber ball. I would go 50 yards out. And in my mind, I would constantly play, this kicks for the Grey Cup. This kicks for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd kick it. And whether I missed it or not, I ran 50 yards, 55 yards, picked up the ball,
brought it back.
And I would do that for hours. Where my mom would be yelling at me down the road. Like I said, supper. It was 5 o'clock. Then it was 6 o'clock, 6:30. And I'm telling you, it was bloody murder. We didn't have the cell phones.
Yeah.
Home.
Yep.
She yelling on the porch. And so for 2 years, it was just an art. It was just a love. I didn't want to stop kicking.
Right.
My third year of college, I ran into a professor. His name is Gino Arcaro. He teaches law and security at Niagara College. And he came up to me and he said, hey, Dan, he said, you played at DM, right? And I said, yeah. He says, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I'm actually going to be taking your course, law and security. He goes, no, you don't understand. Like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I didn't have the mark, sir. He goes, what if I told you I can get you a workout with a CFL team next week?
Right.
And hook you up with a semi-pro team? And I looked at him and I'm like, he goes, have you been kicking? Oh, yes, sir. I take the football to the park every day and I kick. And he said to me, okay. He said, next week, and then I want you to come back and I want you to tell me. So I said, okay. Again, long story short, and wherever you want to take this, that's your call.
Bring it.
I get to Toronto and I meet Mr. Nick Volpe. Once again, not making this somber. This is just the way my life has been during this pandemic. The gentleman who gave me the opportunity, his name is Nick Volpe. He just died a couple days ago.
Wow.
He was like he was my football dad. If it wasn't for this man, I would have never played. And I'll tell you why. When I would go to the free agent camp, when you go, I can go, you can go, my daughter can go.
Really?
Anybody can go. We can all go. You just have to have $60. You go on the field, they give you a penny, and you go try out for the team. It's a free agent camp. Yeah, anybody can go. You can go tomorrow. It's not $60 anymore. Back in my day, it was $60.
Yeah, now
it's over $100 now.
Yeah.
You get a T-shirt. And a lot of times, have you ever seen the movie Invincible with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah.
Okay, Vince Papale, the story of Vince Papale.
Yep.
Okay, so that's almost...
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. That movie's almost identical to my life and how I did it. From there, I want to just make sure, like, I went to that camp and I went 22 for 22 in field goals. My kickoffs all went down to the goal line. When we were done, we had a big circle, big huddle with all the kickers. And it was probably about 34, 35 kickers, if I remember correctly. Wow. And I remember him saying, Mr. Volpe said, guys, who do you think was the best field goal kicker here today? You got to appreciate, there was a former CFL guy trying to get back to the CFL, so he came to that camp. There were guys wearing these big rings, diamonds. They were all American colleges, that, and everything else. They all pointed at me. And I just remember how quiet it got. For me, in my mind,
Right.
I was like, whoa.
Things just got real.
Real. Wow. So Mr. Volpe came up to me and he said to me, he says, do me a favor, son, will you stay after camp for me? And I'm like, okay. So I had this little Fido phone, okay?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Not like the ones we
yeah,
got now,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Little, right? Okay, so I had this little Fido phone, and this Fido phone was dead, right? In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to call my mom. I got to call my mom. He pulls me over, and he says to me, so where did you drive? What did you drive? I says, well, I drove that Chevette, the little cars, the old, And he says, son, he said, man, I really like you. And he says, how old are you? And so that would have been probably, I think I would have been
1920.
I was probably 23.
Oh, right, because
I was 23.
College for 2 years.
20? No, I would have been 20. I was 20.
Right.
I was 20 because 2021 because I played semi-professional football for 9 years. So I just don't want to get backtrack on it. I'll just in that moment, he just basically said to me was his last thing he says before we left. He says he was pumped up. He says to me, "Where did you play your college football?" And I said to him, "Dennis Morris, sir." And he says to me, "I don't know that college." I said, "No, sir, it's high school football." He goes, "No, but where did you play college?" I said, "No, sir, I didn't have the marks." I said, "I go to Niagara College for school. I'm taking law and security." He looked at me and he said, "Listen," he says, "I'll call you tomorrow." So tomorrow came, tomorrow went.
Oh boy.
I remember after the workout though, I got in my car and I pulled up to the first phone booth and I put 25 cents in the phone booth and I called my wife now my girlfriend. Now my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Now my girlfriend, now my wife. And I called her right away. I said, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe this." She goes, "What?" And I told her. I called my mom right away.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody. I went out and bought an Argo hat like the next day because I think I'm going to camp.
Yeah.
Like this guy took all my information down. Next day came, next day went, 1 week went, 2 weeks went. So I finally decided to pick up the phone and I said, "Hey, Mr. Volpe," I says, "It's Dan Giancola calling." I says, "I met you over." He goes, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "Good, sir." I says, I thought that, I just follow up. I didn't hear from you or maybe I missed your call. And he says, "Danny," he says, "son," he says, "if you don't play college, university football," he said, "there's no chance." And I'm like, "Oh," I says, "Can I ask why?" And he says, "Well, you got to prove that you can do it under pressure. We need to see game film." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Went back, talked to my professor, told him what happened. I was crushed because I did so well, And he said to me, he says, "Listen, I'm going to hook you up with the semi-pro team." So I says, "What's a semi-pro team?" He goes, "Well, glorified name. But you pay to play. You tape your number on your jerseys. In some cases, if you have an owner for a team, they'll get you a jersey or something. Yeah. If you got a helmet I could borrow and I'll paint it, and whatever. And so it's basically a bunch of guys that'll have a dream. Former university guys who just wanted to play once in their life and never had a chance to do it. So I went to Toronto. Now, do you want me to just really speed through this? One part? Because
Go through it, but don't skip over the details.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I thought was kind of hitting me is when I was going out playing for these semi-pro teams. My first year, I learned politics of the sports really quick.
Interesting.
I would work for the city of Thorold. I was working as a student. And I would work my 8 to 4, 9 to 4. And as soon as I was done, I have to drive to Toronto, the Lamport Stadium in my Chevette.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I fell asleep behind the wheel, and I remember veering off the side of the road because you're working out in the heat like it is today.
Yeah.
You're exhausted, man. You drive now in rush hour. Practice is at 6. You're not done till 9. And then you drive home. You're exhausted. You barely had anything to eat. I can't tell you the amount of times I remember my car just drifting off to the side, but that's how bad I wanted it. And I was doing that 3 to 4 times a week for 3 months.
Right.
3 days before our very first game, I'm thinking, I'm going to get a chance to play. 3 days before the first game, this guy shows up, and apparently he played for the coach in university. And within 3 days, I was sitting
just off to the side.
Off. So the first 5 games that we were playing, what I would do is I thought, well, the only way I'm going to get seen by anybody is maybe kick at halftime, grab a football and just kick.
Yeah.
So I would go back 60 yards. I would start 60. So my team would be, having their meeting and, going over all their plays. Guys, we got to do this, that, or this. Well, I said, I'm not even playing. So I'd rather go kick.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what city I went to. People would be like, move back, move back. So I could kick 60-yarder, 63-yarder. Then I hear somebody go, it's an NFL record. And I put a ball on my tee and I would just kick these field goals.
Oh my God.
After week 5, my uncle called the Buffalo team, the Buffalo Gladiators, and said, hey, he says, my nephew really wants to play football. You guys just played them up in Toronto 5 weeks ago. Is that the guy kicking at halftime? And he says, yeah. So from there, I went out to Buffalo and I would go out to Riverfront. And we'd be playing, there's no better way to put it. We'd be practicing in the hood. It's very scary.
Right.
Very scary. Very scary place. I can't tell you the amount of times that we'd be, kicking and then all of a sudden you hear gunshots. You hear screaming. The cops would be just barreling down the street. From there, we moved to Fillmore Avenue in the east side in Buffalo. Way worse. The crime was just, when I say to you, there was some games where there'd be a fight in the stands and you hear somebody, gun, he's going to get his gun. We have to delay the game and they call the cops. Because again, you're playing, in places that, you're playing minor league football. So it's not glorified stadiums and big turf. These fields, like your uprights were slanted to the side. Half the field was grass, then another part was gravel. Another part was just hard dirt. There was nothing glorified in semi-pro.
Yeah.
No, it was just a place to play. And from there, so this is what I would do, okay? Because I hadn't had no chance to play pro, my mindset was, okay, well, Dan, if you want to do this, there's only one way to do this. You got to get game film. You need a resume.
Yeah. So
what I would do is I would play a season. My girlfriend, wife now. So if ever you hear me say girlfriend, just know she's my wife now, okay?
Yeah.
So my girlfriend would be doing the resume. Okay, it's 50 yards out, left hash. My uncle would be filming it. So they would film me kicking the field goal.
A family operation.
Right? Absolutely. A family operation, right? Exactly. So what we do is we put that all together.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, again, it's not like this time now where take the video, one click goes on YouTube and every team in the planet can see it. You had to get your VHS tapes. So my VHS tapes were like sky high.
Right.
So now you got to get your VHS tapes. Huge money for that. You have to get the videos going. You put your resumes together. Now you have to mail everything out. Another huge bill for that.
Yeah.
Now you got to call these teams. Well, it's not like it is today. Call Canada and US for, $29.95. No. Phone bills were $400-$500. So I got a job part-time working in a grocery store.
Right.
So I could at least pay for those bills, put gas in the car, drive back and forth, every now and then take my girlfriend out for a movie or something.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I send all that stuff out. Then I would call everybody. And 95% of the people would be like, once again, where did you play? And he says, well, I got videotape. I played minor league football. Well, like your stats, like this, but, Second year.
No real traction.
No, nothing. Nothing. When I say nothing, like nothing.
Right.
Second year, same thing. You play the season, do the videotapes, a resume, send them out. And then I would travel all over the Canada and all over to the US. I travel everywhere. Go to all these free agent camps. So in 9 years,
interesting.
I went to 131 free agent camps in 9 years.
Holy
I traveled all over Canada and all over the US. Out of 131 free agent camps, I went number 1 130 times. So I love doing this. I love doing this when I do my motivational speaking. I always ask the people in the audience, I always say, so out of 130 times coming first, how many phone calls did I get, with the possibility of going to play pro? So how many do you think? How many phone calls do you think I got realistically?
Realistically, if we didn't have the prior conversation, I would genuinely think at least 20, 30.
Right. How many do you think?
Now, after hearing what you're talking about, they didn't really give a shit.
No, nothing. So 130 times going number 1, 131 free agent camps. And 131, I went second in the other one. Not one phone call. Not one.
Wow. And so how did that kind of, you still played pro. So how did you get there?
So in 1998, and this is what a lot of people don't know this. I mean, I think just the people, after chasing my dream for that long, a lot of people don't know this story, that I actually got signed by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. People only know the Toronto Argonauts in 1999. That was the most popular thing, right?
Right.
So in 1998, I ended up getting an agent. There was a guy in my team who was in a CFL, or tried out in a CFL.
So he had an in.
He had an in. And I figured, well, I've tried it by myself. Maybe if I get this somebody. Long story short, sent him my game film. He saw it. He came out to one of my practices in Buffalo and says, I want to come see you kick, man. I said, okay. His name is Maurice Martin. He said, Danny, I got a couple ins for you. So I just remember sitting at my kitchen table, and he called me. And he said to me, Danny, you're bleeding green. I'm like, what the hell are you talking? Well, I am, I'm part Italian, so there's some green in there, the flag and everything. But I mean, I had no idea what the hell you're talking about, bro. He said, Danny, you're bleeding green. How fast can you get to a fax machine? I don't got a fax machine. You got to remember my time now, right?
Yeah.
This is the late 90s.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, he says, Danny, you're signing with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Oh my God.
You freaked out.
You lost it. This is in the winter too. This is like January. It's snowing. It was a snowstorm that night. I went to every Avondale going. I finally ended up in St. Catharines near DM. There was a North Campus.
Yeah.
It used to be the North Campus. I finally went to an Avondale over there, and he said, yeah, we got a fax machine. He faxed over it. Legit contract. $28,000, league minimum. And I'm like, oh my God. So I get home right away. My mom's sitting at the table, and thank God my mom took a picture. There's a picture of me sitting at the table, and I'm signing this contract. The next day, there was a media frenzy. Not a big one, but big enough. And the St. Catharines Standard did the big article, and then it went everywhere. And it was, have leg, will travel. Dan Giancola going to greener pastures. I still got the article. It's the very first article ever done on me.
Wow, that's like nostalgia right there.
So I'm thinking, oh my God. I go buy myself a Saskatchewan Roughrider hat. Everybody wants to talk to me. I'm going to the gym at the YMCA. I'm 2-a-days, and people are like, oh my God, this is great. The guys on my team are like, dude, we're so happy for you. Especially the guys on my team. Again, fast forward. I get to the airport, getting ready to leave. My girlfriend drives me to the airport, and I get on the plane. I was emotional. I'll be like, listen, when I come back, I promise we're going to get married. I says, I'll please try to come and see me. I get on the plane, and I hear, passenger Dan Giancola, could you please come to the front of the plane? So I'm like, all right, maybe I forgot something, whatever. So she goes, sir, I need you to go back out to boarding. And I was like, why? I says, I'm going to Saskatchewan. She goes, I just go to boarding. Okay. So I go to boarding, and they said, Mr. Giancola, instead of you flying out and going all the way out there, the Saskatchewan Roughriders had called. They forwarded a phone call here to the airport, and they no longer need your services. And I'm like, what? I'm sorry, sir. You no longer need your services. And I'm like, my bag's on the plane, and I got to go to training camp. If I get emotional in this, you have to remember, this was traumatic, man, because
it's like you worked
so hard, man. And you don't know the friends and even family that you lose when you're chasing a dream.
Yeah.
Because they care for you, but they don't understand it. And that's one of the hardest things to really, if you want it that bad enough, you got to be able to sacrifice sometimes that.
Yeah.
And whether it means you lose your friends or your family because they don't believe in what you want to do, then so be it.
Right.
I got off the plane, driving home. I was distraught, crying. I looked at my girlfriend and I said, listen, I know you're really looking forward to this, me playing, so we can move on with our life. I'm in the grocery store. I worked at Camiso's. I said, I talked to Mr. Camiso. He said I could study to be a manager. Do me a favor, give me one more year. Just one more. I got this far. He says, okay. So 2 days later, I get to school, and I didn't want to be there.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, you had the opportunity.
Right? I skipped the entire day of school. I got ready to go to semi-professional practice. I get in the car, get in the Chevette, drive over. I get there, and the guys are looking at me like
What are you doing?
What are you doing, dude? And I'm like, guys, this is what happened. And I think the part that really devastated and hurt me the most was, these are my boys,
Having to tell them.
right?
Yeah.
And they looked at me like I was full of crap. That there was no plane, there was no Saskatchewan Roughriders. Yeah, okay, sure, that was your contract. I practiced. I got in the car, drove home, devastated. I get home. Now, I don't know how it is here. Your dad speaks Italian?
Yeah, he does.
Do you?
I don't, but
Do you understand it if he spoke it to you? Somewhat. Okay. No, me too.
A touch.
Me too. Okay. So I get home, and whenever my dad didn't want me to know something, my dad would talk Italian. So I walked into the house, and he happened to be talking to my cousin on the phone. And it went literally from English to Italian real fast, but I understood. He said on the phone, he said that he's home. I got to change the subject for a second. I'm like, okay, you know what, whatever. I go upstairs, go in my bedroom. I really wanted him to get off the phone because I wanted to call my girlfriend, let her know I'm home, I'm devastated, I need somebody to talk to. And I thought my dad was off the phone. Now, again, going back to the day of the phones, we had the dial phone.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I picked up the phone, if you didn't want somebody to know you could still hear, but you didn't want somebody to know you were on there, you just pushed a button on the phone where you picked up the phone from.
And so it's mute. Yeah.
Mute. So I hear my dad, and I can hear my dad saying, I love him with all my heart, but I wish he'd give up this stupid dream. I'm worried about him, and I'm embarrassed because I work with his girlfriend's dad.
Right.
I put the phone down, and I just remember thinking, how bad is this that my family is embarrassed by me? Next day I went to school, and I get there, and instead of going to school, I said, man, I got to go work out. I got to work out my frustrations.
Yeah.
I go up into the mezzanine, give or take about 3 o'clock. Imagine this. I came walking down at 9 p.m. when they were closing the school. I worked out for 6 hours and didn't even realize it.
Wow.
I get down the stairs. I look left. You're going to want to know this story because this is the title of literally all my motivational speaking in my book and everything. So
yeah,
you're going to know right now. I get down to the bottom of the stairs and happen to look left. And the athletic coordinator was putting a poster up on the wall. And it was just a poster. It was about this big. And I didn't even see it. I just knew he was putting a poster up on the wall. I was done anyway. I go in to take a shower. About 9:30, 25-2, I come out. I don't know what possessed me. I wanted to see what the hell this poster was. It could have been anything. It could have been a sign-up sheet for volleyball.
Right.
It looked like a poster. I walked up to the poster, and I looked at it, and it said 1 in 100,000 student athletes will ever play a professional sport. So stay in school.
Wow.
Yeah. So you got to appreciate it. After everything I've been through.
And then that on top of it.
I'm in college. And there's a poster on the wall that says 1 in 100,000. 1 in 100,000. That's a big number. Student athletes. I'm not even a student athlete. So what the hell are my odds?
Yeah.
I grabbed the poster. I rolled it up. I tore it off the wall. And I put it in my bag. I had to have it. I go home. I get home. And there was always a poster. My girlfriend bought it about 4 or 5 years into me playing football. And
right.
It was entitled Determination. And on the bottom it says, it's not whether you get knocked down, but rather if you get back up again.
Right.
And it was a picture of a guy getting tackled, falling over. So I took this poster, this one poster that I had, the determination was at the end of my bed.
Yeah.
And I would always stare at this poster. 131 times I got turned down. So every one, I'd be sitting at the end of my bed crying. Oh man, I had it. I was so close. But I would read it and say, okay, well, I'm entitled to feel the way I want today. But tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
And I would get up and
That's
tomorrow
true.
would be a new day.
Yeah.
I got the other poster and I put it right beside that poster on the wall. And I remember just sitting on the end of the bed like I'm sitting here right now. And I would go back and forth. And I remember saying to myself, you know what? Maybe everybody's right. Maybe they're right. I've been at this thing for 9 years. Maybe it's a stupid dream, and maybe dreams are only meant for special people. Just give me 2 seconds. So, I don't know what came over me, man. I got up, and my dad made a desk on the side wall, just for my schoolwork. And I went in there and I grabbed the Sharpie. And I walked over and I stood in front of the 2 posters. And I remember saying to myself, why does it always have to be somebody else? Why not me? I grabbed the marker and I put a big X through 1 in 100,000. And I wrote, be that one. Those were 3 of the most powerful words I have ever spoken in my life.
And something about writing it down must make it even that much more powerful.
BTO Performance is the name of my studio. BTO stands for Be That One. My clothing line that I got trademarked in Canada in the process of now doing it in the States is called Be That One. It's Be That One with an X through it. The X signifies the X that I put through 1 in 100,000. And my book is named Be That One. My motivational speaking when I go around and talk is called Be That One. Those 3 words changed my life forever. In 1999, I finally got an opportunity. I was in Cocoa Beach, Florida. I was trying out for an arena football team. I made the team. Coach asked me to do 1 kick, 1 more kick. I wanted to do a kickoff. My brother was out there and my girlfriend, they came with me to Cocoa Beach, Florida. I went to kick the ball and I tore my groin in 3 places.
Wow.
The same day, I got a phone call from Maurice Martin, my agent. He said, Danny, what are you doing? I didn't want to talk to him. I just tore my groin. I'm done. I'm finished. 3 spots. I'm finished. I said, Maurice, I really don't want to talk right now. He says, you're bleeding blue. A what? You're bleeding blue. He goes, you just signed with the Toronto Argonauts. I need you to come home. Now. I said, Maurice, I just tore my leg in 3 spots. I got nothing. Get home now. You got 3 months to get ready. Get home. Doctor shot me up. Shot my leg up, numbed my leg completely. So I could walk in, walk out. In 1999, I tied the league for most field goal attempts and most field goals. I fell short 5 points, 4 points shy of the rookie scoring all-time record. I was nominated for Rookie of the Year, Canadian Player of the Year, and Special Teams Player of the Year. At year's end, I had 7 NFL teams. Put stuff out to me. I ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills in 2000. Unfortunately, they let it know to me in training camp that they weren't going to sign me. They weren't going to keep me. They basically told me they just wanted me there to push Steve Christie. Doug Flutie was the quarterback then. I came home. Toronto traded me out to BC. I won the Grey Cup that year with the BC Lions in 2000. In 2001, I signed back with Toronto. In 2002, I was taken the first pick in the dispersal Canadian draft with the new team, the Ottawa Renegades.
Wow.
2003, I signed with the Montreal Alouettes. Such an honor. 2004, signed in Toronto. Won the Grey Cup that year. I'm very blessed to have this ring.
Absolutely.
Thank you. My daughter's going to have it one day. That was the promise I made to my daughter. I says, but I got to be in the ground before she can have it. Yeah. So, that was 2004. 2005, 6, 7, 8, ton of sickness in the family, cancer, wife, the whole 9 yards. So sporadically I played. 2009, I decided to make a comeback. It was a huge story. I was 39 years old. Unfortunately, I tore up my groin and I made a decision that I've done a lot and I didn't want to leave my daughter anymore. That was one of my biggest things, was leaving my wife and leaving my daughter. That was daddy's girl, and I think I had enough.
Yeah.
And so I decided to stay home. And then hence my entrepreneurship with getting into business.
Wow, absolutely incredible.
So sorry if I took too much time.
No, that can be taken so many different ways from so many different people, in the sense that it's like, oh yeah, I just lifted up a bit. A lot of people don't understand how hard certain people work for something.
Yeah.
and how long they work for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then they almost forget about it. But then when it happens, they kind of think, oh, yeah, I knew he would get it. I knew he would get it.
I think that's one of the hardest things. I got to be honest with you, man, is when my dad taught me something a long time ago. And it's something I always, he says, never, never, never begrudge people in their opinions. Never.
Right.
Everybody will have an opinion, whether you like it or not. It's your choice whether you want to take it in or whether you just want to push it away. So what I did was, for the people who told me I couldn't do it and talked behind my back and said every obscene name, I don't want to be like, on your podcast, but every obscene name in the book. For those people, I would give them a handshake and say, thank you.
Because it drives you.
Right? And then for the people who I knew, which were not a lot, that had my back, I walk up to them, I give them a hug, I would say thank you, and then I would give them tickets to come down to the game for free on me and experience what I experience. Because I always said, I'm a fan with the best seats in the house.
Right.
I really was. I was a fan first because I didn't play college university football. So they did their study on me, and I was like one in like 50 million that would ever get a chance.
That never played college ball.
That never played college ball, but believed that if I got the opportunity, I would do it.
So can you recap that one portion of your story there? Because I think that was, if we get into anything today after your story, it would be that. Is somebody like a kid who is growing up, it's clear that their parents doubt what they want to do in life.
Right.
Not many people give a shit what they want to do.
Right.
Can you kind of tell somebody, what would you wish somebody told you to get you in that mindset of being that one earlier?
Fear. And it's one of the things I say to my daughter. Fear is self-made. Fear, we put it upon ourselves. Because here's a perfect example for you. I just finished telling you that all the way through grade 4, right through college, I took 0.
Yeah.
0 for motivational for speaking. Okay. Now, somebody who speaks and obviously do really well, it's extremely intimidating to me.
Right.
So growing up, you would be very intimidating to me. I'd be like, oh, damn, I can't. Fear. So once I overcame my fear of speaking, boom. Now I go to events and minimum I get paid is $5,000, 45 minutes to talk and just tell you the same story that I just told you right now.
Right.
The only difference is it turns into an hour and I can sit there and I can answer questions and this, that, and everything else. So my suggestion would be is don't live in fear. Who cares? If they laugh at you or they don't want to talk to you, who cares, man? You have the choice. It's your choice. If you want to take it in and let it destroy you, that's on you. I can't do that. I can't fix that. But if you make that decision that, you know what? I appreciate what you just said to me, but I don't validate it in any way, shape, or form in my life. I'm going to go chase my dream and I'm going to do what I want to do because it's my life. And that's what I say to my daughter. And, she comes from the same school of me where we can be intimidated. We have that little bit of fear. But once you get past the fact that somebody else's opinion really doesn't matter, that this is what I want to do with my life, man, your life will change. I'm telling you, your life will change. And I'm living proof.
So what pushed you to work so hard in the dark so you could shine in the light? What was that mindset that pushed you?
I did. See how so I'm 51 years old. Okay, so I'm creeping up. My thing was I didn't want to grow old thinking, what if? So right there would be that one. That would literally be another t-shirt for me because that's what I always used to say. I don't want to grow old thinking, what if? I don't want to be 65, 75, 85 years old, sitting in a chair like this, watching a game on TV and saying, what if I would have just went a little bit longer?
What if you just kicked one more ball?
Here's the truth. There were guys that had better legs than me. They could kick farther than me. They could kick more accurate at me. They would come out at the beginning every year like I did. You want to know the difference? This is the God honest truth. Everybody's looking for the secret to success. Everybody is. And at the end of the day, when you listen to all these motivational speaking people, I know because I listen to them all the time, we all say the same thing. It's believing in yourself and not giving up. Because people tend to, when they get to the point where they're almost at success, and they're like, well, this is not working, I'm done. There were so many guys who had better talent than me. The only reason why I played and signed is simple. I didn't give up until I got my opportunity. Period. There's no secret to success here. There's not. The secret to success is have heart. Love what you do every day. It's evident that you love what you do. I've only known you for the week that my daughter told me, Daddy, I think we can maybe do a podcast or you'll talk to him. And then I watched you. You obviously love it.
Thank you. I do.
I know you do. I mean, I come from the same school that you do. We love what we do. And when you love what you do, you don't worry about this. This will be there. This will come. But when you can wake up in the morning and say, hey, today's going to be a great day, man. I'm going to my studio and there's going to be 30 people. We're going to be rocking it out. I never once played professional football did I ever say I was going to work. Ask my wife. In 10 years, I always said I was going to play football. When I go to my fitness studio, I'm going to play at the gym. Because we play.
Yeah.
To me, it's play. It's not work. Work is when you sit there and go, oh, man, I got to do this for another 3 hours.
Which is a good mindset, because I've heard like a lot of people say, oh, if you love what you do, it's not work. But I've never heard it put that way, in the sense that it's like, even the way you talk and the way you feel before you go should not feel like work.
When we go on vacation, and my daughter will tell you, whether we go to California or whether we go to the cottage, when I get about 4 or 5 days in the vacation, I'm already thinking about when I get back.
Right.
Who does that?
Yeah. It's not
unless
it's not
you
every
love
person.
what you do, man. Who does? You think? And again, no disrespect. For me, I'll pick. I had a really horrible job. I had a really crappy job. I was working in a sheet metal place. It's called Clark Machine in St. Catharines. And I watched a guy literally get his legs wrapped up in welding cords, brought him into the machine, literally wrapped him up. And what they would do is it's called a lathe. So they would, it would be spinning. The piece of metal would be spinning and they would be shaving it down. Well, this guy was welding on it and he hit the button by an accident to start the machine. Brought the guy right into the machine. His legs were banging into this machine. Everybody was running out. Everybody thought he was dead. Dead. I remember going to the emergency button, hammering this emergency button, and the button wasn't going off. I'm going, oh my God. Somebody came over somehow. They were able to shut the machine off. The reason why I'm telling you this story is I remember when I left that day, and I said to myself, I will not get a job just for a job. I would stare at that clock for 8 hours every day from the time I walked in. 7 hours left, 6 hours left, 1 hour left. Holy crap, I got to come back tomorrow. I do my studio. I do it all day, man.
Yeah.
All day, yelling and screaming at people, having a blast. And I mean that respectfully, yelling and screaming in a motivating way.
You need it.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I love it, helping them, help change their lives. The money will always be there. If money is your concern, if you love what you do, trust me, you'll get a lot of money from it. If ever I had to tell the youth coming up right now, love what you do. Have a passion for it. When you wake up in the morning, when you go to bed at night, you're thinking about it. It makes life a lot better, man. A lot better.
I could not agree more. And we are coming close to our time here.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you one more question.
Sure.
You brought that up. Is what I've noticed with people my age, because I'm still young. I'm I would be considered the up and coming generation, right, to the workforce and all this kind of stuff. I've noticed that a lot of people, they might not even know what they thoroughly enjoy. I ask them, hey, what do you want to do? Because they say, like, Sam, it's almost like, oh, now me running my business has become the norm to the people that I went to high school with. Yet 4 years ago, it was like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know the feeling better than I do.
Yeah.
So to somebody who is in that moment right now, you know, they don't know what they thoroughly enjoy. They don't know what they like to do, but they just hate where they're at.
Right.
What would you suggest them to do? Maybe is it seek opportunity, talk to people, network? Like, what are some strategies you would utilize to and tell somebody to kind of go out and find what they do, find what they're passionate about, and then pursue it?
Right. Well, you said it right at the end. You said it just now. It's finding that passion about what you love to do. When you know, one of the things that I listen to in my motivational speaking, like my videos and all that stuff I listen to, they always say, what's your why? When you wake up in the morning, what's your why? What gets you out of bed? What gets you to go to your job or your place of whatever? What's your why? What's your purpose? What's your purpose in this world? Don't just exist. I mean, if existing is your thing and just being stagnant and status quo, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Some people, that's their life. That's what they like.
Yeah.
They like to be the back in the room people. People like me? No, man. I want to make a difference in this world. I do fundraisers. I've done 4 or 5 galas. I've raised over $125,000 in 4 years. I don't get $1 from it. I just want to give back. It's my why. It's my purpose. It's what I love to do. What drives you? So I would say people like yourself is, what's your why? When you wake up in the morning, what's your purpose? What do you want to do? And if you don't know what it is, that's okay. I have never once bothered my daughter once. She'll tell you. I've never said to her, find a job and go to work.
Right.
Because I was put in that situation and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't even know I wanted to play professional football. I just know that school really wasn't for me. I wasn't good at it. You know what I mean? I didn't like to study.
Yeah.
I'm a dreamer. You know what I mean? So I had to find myself. And in those 9 years of chasing my dream in all my 20s, thank the good Lord I had the opportunity to play professional football. And that I had to learn through my wife, that doesn't define me who I am. That was just part of my life. Dan Giancola, former grocery guy, who had the opportunity to live out his dream and beat all the odds.
Yeah.
Now I'm Dan Giancola, entrepreneur, changing people's lives every day through health and fitness and through my motivational speaking. And I love it. And I will do this until the day I die. Period.
Done.
Beautiful.
Well, listen, thank you for watching. And if you're listening to the Meeting Goal podcast, I didn't even expect this well of a talk today, to be honest with you. It was actually really, really well done.
Thank you.
Dan, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
You definitely want to listen to this one. It's a longer one, but you want to listen to the whole thing. The story is fantastic. So if you want to take a listen, you can watch it on YouTube, the clips. You can take a full listen to it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And then we'll also have teasers on Instagram as well if you want to check those out. So thank you everybody for listening and watching. And we'll see you next week. Cheers.